And welcome to the Indy Hookup. What's up, Hess? Who we got today?
What's good, Ricardo? Hey, man, we got my longtime friend, man, King Brice. Man, I've been grinding with them
Salute.
for 5 years, Ricardo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Been,
we're on the grind. Salute,
yeah,
salute. The Indie Hookup Radio. What's up, Ricardo? How you doing?
What's happening? Big
Yeah, man.
fan,
Glad to
man.
be here.
Right from the start, when Hess started putting you in the countdown, I'm like, this dude right here. Then we did some research on you, found those credits. Was like, whoa, yeah.
Oh
So I
yeah,
see
I
why you
appreciate
got
it.
those credits, bro. Yeah,
Appreciate it, bro. It's a grind. I love music, man. It's about putting that good energy out there. You know what I mean?
yes, sir. Yeah, that's all music is. It's good. It's energy,
Yeah.
vibrations. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
hey,
We're
hey,
just keeping
hey,
the frequency up there.
honor to be in with you and Mark Bradley, our friend across the pond, man, on this promotional journey, man. Your music, my mom's music,
Yeah.
Ricardo music, no one could do this stuff by themselves, man. And
Nah.
I've been watching you rock for the past 5 years. You know, I'm gonna tell you, Mark is a fan, dog. He's a fan like I am, like
Yeah.
Ricardo.
I mean,
We man love your music,
I,
family. Love
I
your music.
appreciate it. I appreciate it, bro. I put a lot of effort into creating the music and the network with you guys is amazing. All the way out in the UK, we're in California, we're making it happen. It's a great thing because I met a lot of great musicians through the networking with you and Indie Hookup, Trend City, and eTunes UK. It's been great. A lot of
Uh,
some of the best talent that I've heard, you know what I mean, is through these networks and not on mainstream radio. You know what I mean? This is what's so unique about what you guys are doing. That's why I love it.
right. Hey, we appreciate that, man. I'm a fan of. I don't even listen to mainstream. I got to be honest with you
Oh
because I
yeah,
know the struggles of
yeah,
what independent artists go through.
right,
You work a 9 to 5. Uh, Honestly, perform for free on some occasions. It's for
yeah.
the
The grind.
the
That,
grind and the music. Um,
yeah.
so I'm looking forward to this future run we about to do.
Oh, definitely.
Um, and uh, I had an argument with a friend the other day. I'm like,
Mm.
dude, you don't even support me, man. He said, you play all them old people. Uh, Everybody looking for
Timeless.
youngsters. I'm like, man, no, dude, you don't even understand the concept, dude.
But
These are
it's
all
crazy.
artists.
Yeah, the thing is too, music. A lot of the music that you hear, even in hip hop, some of the biggest classics are from older music, from older genres. They would sample. You know what I mean? Hip hop had a lot of samples, like in the '90s, that you would hear jazz samples, and a lot of
Hmm.
that stuff came before the producer's time. Music is something that's timeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't put a age limit or time on music.
One
You know
thing
what I'm
No.
about,
saying?
well, finally, I think one thing finally, they were trying to do when hip hop was young. We was trying to say it was a young man's game. Oh, you OG, you. But then hip hop turned
Right.
50, and then we still
Right.
respecting the OGs. So they had to kind of like switch that around. So it's respect. We still got the youth,
Exactly.
and they got their voice and they whatever. But the standard has to be like in country music or rock and roll or in jazz, the elders are
Right.
respected. They might be two or three generations on stage together. We starting to push toward that because like hip hop is
Right.
aged out and people like, no, I'm not gonna put my mic up. I used to say, you had old school cats when they was young saying, Look at the OGs, but now they old and they
Right,
don't want to give it up. They want to still express their voice, and they see some of this mumble
right.
rap and other stuff out there. Like, come on now, we can't let hip hop die
Yeah.
like that, you know. So
No,
yeah,
yeah, I see a lot of the greats putting out some records. You know, you got Big Daddy Kane. He just put out a record. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty, it's all feeding the culture. It's musical contributions. The thing is, I think some of this misconception that's out there was pushed by certain groups that wanted to create a generation gap
mm,
because it's easier to manipulate an inexperienced younger artist than it is for to try to do that to a seasoned experienced artist. So
mm,
a lot of that, and it doesn't really help the culture. It actually takes money away from the culture because I remember listening to certain records like you could even say like okay like what's that group Belle Biv DeVoe ABC, they had a group, it was a bunch of kids,
another
and
bad creation. My boy used to
yeah,
produce
everybody was
them. Yeah,
listening to them.
Yoshimi. Yeah,
So it didn't matter. Like even if you go as back and looking at it, like the artists like the Diana Rosses, even the Jackson Five, when they put out music, it wasn't like even as the Jackson Five, as the youngins, it wasn't just for kids. So older folks were listening to them. So when
right,
music, when you hear like a Michael Jackson or you hear Smokey Robinson or a lot of these guys, it was just music. So
right,
there was no generation gap. It's like it didn't matter. I grew up listening to the same music that my mom was listening to, my aunties, my uncles, and they were all older than me. So back then there wasn't really that concept of or that mind that state of mind where that's for old folks. That it was just music.
mm,
Look at Bob Marley. Every year, even when they were selling vinyls and CDs and things like that, every year Bob Marley was going diamond. So who's listening to this song? Like to this day, I could still listen to a Bob Marley. You know what I mean?
right, right. Speak the
So
creation process. What is your? Are you a producer as well, or do you just get beats
yes,
from a? Yeah. So
no,
you
yeah, I'm
produce
also
most of your
yeah,
beats, or
yeah. A lot of my beats I produce.
okay,
I when I came in the game, I started producing early on before I started recording, just to learn the studio and equipment and things like that. So I used to work with a lot of international artists. So I would work closely with the sound engineers, and at that time, working with certain artists like that do world beat. There's
mm,
a lot of different sequences in those records. So that means you had to really be sonically in tune to
mm,
listen to the different percussions and sounds. Where hip hop is more of a 8 bar loop, 4 bar loop, with much more simple sounds. You know what I mean? Like structure. So
right,
that gave me the experience to be able to like, you know, just prepare myself. So once I started to record, then I had another producer. I had a few producers when I was recording. I used to work with one of the Fuji's producers.
right,
So I worked with them in that same studio that they recorded the Fuji's album, the score. So with that, like so I didn't have to do the beats. I just focused on rhyming. So after that, then it was so much crazy things going on in the business. So I had to like, make sure that I got all my things together. So I produce for other artists. And there's other artists, that have sometimes other producers send me stuff. If I like it, you know what I mean? I may do something to it. But during the pandemic, I spent a lot of time putting out mixtapes just to
wow,
keep it was like the mixtapes helped to basically create a platform for multiple artists where they could hear each other, and it created a network of an audience for each other. So if you got like 15 different guys on a project, they all know about each other prior to any other outside person, listening to it. We already had that network. So
yeah,
this way you could, it was good. It's good motivation. And this way too, it keeps you from burning yourself out because right now, the streaming game is not helping the culture. So
nah,
sometimes, you could put out, 100 records, and it's like, you're getting it for a fraction of a penny, so you don't need to go do
right,
that. But
right,
they're telling artists, oh, you need to put out more music and more music, but you don't really have to. It's how you run it because sometimes they tell artists, to Some artists think, for example, you got to release like 4 or 5 tracks every month. You got to give people time to grow and listen to the record. You got to give the record. Normally, it takes about 6 months to push a single. That's how the record labels were doing it.
Right.
So how
Right.
if you know what I mean? What you saying,
Yeah,
Heston?
you know, what we talked about yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, thanks to Ricardo and his co-partner K.E. Durham. They both together are Black Nova Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I got a couple of new songs from K.E. and Ricardo remixed and mastered 4 songs or 5. How many was it, Ricardo?
Uh, you got me thinking now. I think it was 4.
Okay, okay, the
Mm-hmm.
4. Those new songs push my mom's song, her old songs over the top.
Yeah.
I just looked at Spotify for artists, and yesterday, uh, "Love Will Set You Free" streamed
That's my
807
record.
times. Uh, "I
That's
Need Love"
amazing.
streamed over 800 times.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
whole album
so
is amazing.
and still today. And do you know when we reissued it?
Right.
Pe- People started calling. Um, I'm looking for Bill Cleveland. I'm like, man, oh, He said, man, well, look, I'm looking for this artist. Your father produced this artist.
Hmm.
So it was a sound, like
Yeah.
you were saying, it was the sound that my father had coming out of that studio
Yeah.
that a lot of people come back wanting to reissue it. I didn't even think of anything like that, but it's a network of people reissuing
Yeah.
uh not really popular
Right.
music, but good.
Yeah.
They re you
Quality
know,
over quantity. It always
It's a
works.
prototype. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
For me, when I heard that album, Carrie Cleveland, looking up the complete works, from the first song, I was hooked. And I listened to the entire album. And I'm a real tough critic when it comes to music, especially, I'm specific. Like this certain thing. The melodies are there, the production is there, the words, the lyrics, everything the vibe was just right. So I
Mm.
shared it with a couple of other producers in hip hop, and everybody that heard it was like, oh, that's a classic. That's a classic album. It's a vintage album. You know
Mm.
what I
yeah,
mean? So you find that sound. She has that Motown classic sound that you would have heard. Any producer would love to, have that vocalist on their track. You know what I mean? It's
and
keeping that high frequency out there. We need that.
the AI thing is taking over.
Yeah.
I also found out a lot of people are staying vintage. There's a independent record store day every year.
Right. Right.
All the music lovers, all the vinyl lovers go to the record store. My mom did a record signing party one
Right.
day. Uh, it was crazy. I couldn't
Yeah.
even get I couldn't even get in. My mom started singing. Everybody rushed in. They had speakers outside. They had the records all over the place. And I
Yeah.
this every year. He said, "Yeah, man, every year." And I talked to the record label. He said, "Yeah, man, we had a independent record store party." I'm like, "Me too."
Yeah.
The market's still there, is what I'm trying to
No,
say.
it's still there. Because the thing
Yeah.
is too, with I was having that conversation with one of the artists that I just released a record on, um, Night Sky. The artist name is Lord Nexus. We just released
So,
that record.
uh,
Yeah. No, that song, like we worked on that record for a while. We sat on it, talked about it. the thing is, the conversation we were having was based around CDs, and we were talking about the importance of CDs in this time still, because what happens is a CD is a tangible item where
Mm.
if you run into the artist, you can always sign it. It's a you got the physical copy. They can autograph it. You know what I mean? Things like that is very important. You could collect it. I go
Print
into a
on
shop
demand
if I
vinyl
see,
now too. The vinyl was coming back. I mean, it came back
yeah,
strong. It was in all the B. Dalton, Walton's bookstores. They were selling turntables and stuff. So now that there's a print on demand, that
yeah,
directly if the artist only got 10 people buying it, he don't have to buy 100 copies. They could just buy it, get it as soon as it's ordered, straight to the consumer. So I think
oh
that's
yeah,
trying to come up with new technologies to get back the physical element. That's what's Spotify and them got to steal from us. But
right,
we could make a day job money off of just hustling on the streets, going to barbershops and beauty shops and the mom and pop
exactly,
stores and selling it. And they took that's away from us. And even the brothers are still on this. Like I'm here in Vegas. They still trying to
right.
sell the CDs on the street, and some of them got modernizing barcodes, but people like, man, I ain't got no CD in my car. If it's I don't know when they start making in the car so the
But
vinyl.
you know what? Yeah, like what you're saying with that, right? I was talking about that the other day. The thing is this: not everyone is driving a car from 2023 and up,
Mm,
24, 25. You go into a car dealership, you got certain cars that are classic cars, and some certain you got Lexuses and BMWs and all kind of different cars that still have CD players.
yes.
So the thing is, it's not everybody. You got people that are driving cars with CD players. So not every music listener is driving a vehicle where it's only a flash drive or using this new technology. So it's still good to make CDs.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
options is
saying?
definitely
Especially
good. Whatever, however you can reach the fan, the
yeah,
better. What's your product? Are
yeah.
you an MPC type producer, or you play a
I
little
love the
keyboard?
MPC.
Okay,
Yep, I play keyboard by ear. If I hear it in my head, I can play it. So I
that's
use
what's.
that. I use sometimes I use Machine. Sometimes Machine is like the MPC. If you're
Right.
experienced with the MPC, you could use Machine by Native Instruments.
Yes.
I use that a lot too. But I started off using the MPC, the 3000, and then I moved to
Mm,
the 2000 XL. I like
mm,
that a lot. The thing is with that, it gave me a lot of experience. So even with the technology now, I was able to use it much easier because with the MPC, you had to basically create a library of sound. It didn't
right.
come with sounds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You had to go in and make sounds. If you wanted a piano, you didn't have any piano, you may have to go listen to some music. Just all you need is one note. And on the
Right.
MPC, you could change that. You could turn, you could,
And make
you
it
could,
unique. Every ain't the same patch as everybody else got. Your whole kit is, you
yeah.
know, that
Yeah, I
cats was
love all
selling
that.
their kits, and I mean, we well
Yeah,
even after that, like you was the first generation where you was making your own custom kits, but then producers like
yeah,
musicians like myself, we was buying CDs for $200, $150 with kits that
yeah.
y'all made and stuff, to get the hip hop sound because we were more musicians, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah, that's
so
why. Yeah, definitely. I got love for a lot of the musicians. So sometimes we would even have musicians come in the studio and just play a sound.
yeah, I used to
You know
play
what I
right
mean?
into my boy's MPC directly, just do the
Yeah.
guitar loops and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. I
that's what's.
worked with a lot of musicians. I also I a lot of times too, I would certain records that I would produce, I would bring in sometimes a live bassist because I like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you could always play the bass on the keyboard, or, even on the MP. But I like that feeling, and sometimes I find that works best when you're working with after the vocals.
Mhm.
After the vocals is laid out, then you drop that bass. The musician
Yeah,
has more
so they
more
can play
rhythm
off of the
to play
vocal and
with.
not fight with it. Because sometimes singers don't
Yeah,
know how to lay in a pocket. They just doing, but a good
right.
musician can work around whatever,
Yeah, because it's all in there, really. The artist is like the last instrument on the track.
Hmm.
So sometimes there's certain melodies, or rhythm, the artist just brings that in. So a lot of times, you when you work with musicians, you understand the passion that they have for music, and you respect that, especially when you got to mix a record. Like, I'm not an engineer, but I've had to sit next to sound engineers and watch them mix a record and realize how much work and input it took it to mix the record. Sometimes the artist leaves the studio, they're home sleeping, and the guy is sitting in front of a computer screen. His eyes all hurting them, blurry, and all of that.
Right.
His eyes are strained from trying to mix this thing, especially
Right.
like in the days before that they had all this digital stuff. It took more time and it was more
Right.
money to even mix a
Right.
record. Now
Right.
you got sounds that are pre-mixed kind of, so it's
Hmm. They
less
got
work that
effects
the
chain.
engineer
You
has to
just
do.
drop the chain right on top.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But when people were recording on 2-inch reel, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? They had to put in a lot of work. That's why to mix an album, it was like a minimum of 50 to 60,000. You know what I'm saying? Like the record label would spend that much. So when you hear Dr. Dre, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that thing sound crispy. Yeah, they had like a $60,000 budget to
Right. They
mix the
had the
record.
samples and they had the real guys come and play over the top of that. I found
Yeah,
that out too. Say real bass players come and play over the sample, to get that
yeah,
separation and stuff. Yeah, so you
yeah.
obviously got a whole bunch of studio, uh, put your work in there. What about your live thing? Do you have you done a whole lot of shows? Are you doing shows still today?
Yeah, I'm still doing shows. I just recently did a show 2 weeks ago in Manhattan,
That's what's
39th
up.
Street and 6th Avenue. It was a mixed crowd, from 22 all the way up to 70,
Damn.
and people were loving it. It was a fashion show. So it was I did that with VJ Landers. He's one of the guys that used to work with Wu-Tang. He worked with a lot of people. Force MDs. He managed Jesse from the Force MDs. I don't remember that group. Put them out there. So it was an amazing experience. Everybody showed love. It was a good vibe, and it was funny too because I had to go on right after they was playing some house music, and people love their house music. They was dancing and all that. So I'm like, yo, and I had to follow after that, but they loved it, man. I usually try to, a lot of times I have different sets. So depending on the venue, I'll just run through my archive and see what the crowd demographics is, and then just run with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about basically just keeping that energy up there. But I stress the lyrical part. Like basically I want the poetry in there. You know what I'm saying? To keep them
Mhm.
entertained. You gotta definitely drop some substance in the music. You know what
No,
I mean?
what has we because of the unique experience of working with his mom,
Yeah,
we don't look at older music. It's new to somebody. That's how we always thinking. So like we ain't always like,
yeah,
what's your latest single? I mean, we if you got a new single, of course we want to push that out.
right.
But if you got the song you released 15 years ago, it's new to us. It's
Mm,
new to a lot of the audience anyway, and we'll
of
put it in
course.
there like it's like you just released it yesterday. So
Yeah.
what's some of the songs that you've done in the past, and then what's
Mhm.
some of the favorite songs you've done in the past, and one of the songs that you kind of like did recently that you would want to.
Let me see. Some
You
of the
probably want
songs
to
in the
hear your
past.
whole collection, but what's some of your favorites?
Some of my
Then
favorites, I like the Don Wepper record. It's a record called Don Wepper. That was I produced that because it's an up tempo beat. You know what I mean? I got a little Spanish slang in there. I got like it's a fun record. I wanted to do a fun record. And I also like the Ripper, King Brice. You look that up on YouTube, King Brice the Ripper. That's a dope record. That's one of my favorites because that record is a straight rhyme. There's no chorus on that record. That
Mm.
was something that I had to get off my chest. You know what I'm
Your
saying? They're
MC
like because
skills came out, huh? You wasn't
yeah,
even thinking
because it
about
was
no hook. You were just like,
nah, yeah, because they were pushing so much of the trap music and the drill and all of that, and a lot. Sometimes it takes away from the lyrical content because a lot of it is just the rhythm of the beat playing, and the artist don't really got to say much. You know what I mean? So I had to like go in on that one. That's one of my favorite ones. Like I definitely got to say that. And of course, let's say the other record that Heston likes a lot, Not So Innocent. That was produced by Alex Murphy of Sonicology Records. He released it through Orchard Sony. So he produced that record, featured me on there, and I did two records that same day. So and then went out to Jersey, met with him. So the most recent one right now, like the one that I just produced, Night Sky, I got a remix coming out with that. So right
Yes.
now we got Lord Nexus on there. So on the remix, I'm rhyming on the remix. So the original version, I just produced that and put that out there. So we're gonna be doing a remix to that, which is dropping probably like next month, at the end of this month.
Okay,
So
you just make sure you get at the Hess, man.
oh
Yeah.
Like I
definitely,
was telling you, I'm a part
yeah.
of Alliance. It's a big thing now. Now I just got the list for the week. It's the
hmm
top 100. Night Sky is in at number 54. Family.
Not
I'm
nice,
whoa, that's what's
nice.
up. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that record. I love that record. And I had that beat sitting there for a while, and I just said, you know what? I titled it Night Sky, and then when I sent it to Nexus, he loved the record, and we just we built it from there. He comes from a musical background. The Neville brothers. He's that's family. That's his family. So they
What?
with the live band and all that. So they got that a good sound. It was a good collaboration. We worked on a couple of projects with through the mixtapes when I was putting the mixtapes out together.
Like that.
So
Hey, let me ask you, man. You knew this question was coming.
mhm.
How did you meet Mark?
Through basically he found me actually because I was promoting a lot of artists from before. So then when he linked up with me, when he hit me up on Twitter, that's where we first linked up through there. And we've been like working together ever since. So and it was funny because I was trying to get into the whole Twitter thing, you know what I mean? And then he found when he found my music, he did an entire page and put my music on the page, and it was a web page. That was before I had my website. I was like, wow. I was,
Yeah.
man, listen, it almost brought tears to my eyes, man, because to see the impact that my music had on certain people, that to me, I felt like he just gave me $1 million, man. It was just the appreciation that he had for the records. I was loving it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, like we talked about earlier, he did me the same exact way.
No, he's amazing, man.
Amazing, man. And
We
uh,
started off with a few artists, and we got like thousands
man,
now.
it's Twitter, man. Listeners, y'all tap
Yeah,
into follow King Brice,
yeah, we
Carrie,
doing it.
the Indy
That's right.
Hookup, E
That's right.
Tools, Mark Bradley,
UK. That's right.
the kindest man in music.
Yeah,
In
definitely.
music, man, you
He's
know
a
what?
godsend, man. He's a
Yeah, yeah.
godsend.
I felt the same way you did. It brought tears to my eyes because I
Yeah,
didn't know
man.
what no, I didn't know what an EPK was or none of that. Man, he
Yeah,
had mom's pictures,
everything. Everything. I know
printed
what
on
type of work that takes. No,
man, he
he
all that.
works really hard. He works hard because I've had to put records projects together, and the digital part, when you got to upload everything, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So when I saw that, I had utmost respect for him. And and it's funny, it was a blessing that came because I was doing that for other artists. So he saw that, and he knew that I was always supporting independent artists, and then he was doing the same thing. He even said, if it wasn't for for me, he probably wouldn't even start that because it started with just a few people, and now
Man,
we have like thousands of artists, man. So I was
and, and,
inspired,
and uh it's all love. You know,
love.
I'm stumbling, trying to learn the social media and
I
people
know.
people like you. It was this one guy, he said, Heston, I got a few suggestions for you, man. I heard your mom's music. I love it. Let me suggest this. And then he said, you know what? I'm gonna give you something. I'm working on my radio station. I got your mom's music. Soon as it's up, I'll play it. But here's a
Mm-hmm.
list. It was 33 uh, bloggers, uh,
Yeah.
newspaper people, and some radio stations. He sent me
Yeah.
all that, and I just start scrolling through, start meeting more people, and more the love came. I just want to, man, I want to see you exceed. I never seen nobody do their mom like that, man. You
Yeah,
know,
that's what gravitated me towards you as well because I kept seeing that album. When I found out that was your mom, I thought that was amazing. I said, "Oh, the way he was promoting his mother, that's a beautiful thing." I said, I gotta get with him, man. I gotta support this guy." You know what I'm saying? And the project speaks for itself. You know what I mean? Like as soon as you hear the album, if anybody that knows music, like it's well put together. Sonically, it satisfies your ears.
It's crazy how the indie hookup came about because myself, I was producing, trying to get other artists out, but then I finally decided to put out an album myself because we weren't getting cooperation
Right,
from the artists. I'm always been behind the scenes. I'm a producer,
right,
but I
right,
never was the artist. I was gonna put out a
right,
jazz album, but I never did that even. So,
right.
so I just did this project at the same time. Hess's mother got introduced to me and KE, and we was like trying to
Right.
get the stuff. I'm making shortcuts, but after we get a finished product, we want to get it. Hess had a couple of ends with KYBN and a
Yeah.
couple of other people he met, but we just you know wanted to get more and more stations playing it, more and more playlists, and so on and so forth. So in that process of us trying to get ourselves heard, we realized that if we connect with other independent artists and create cooperative
Right.
marketing. Hey man, I'm gonna put you on my page, you put me on your page and stuff. And the next thing you know,
Yeah.
we decided to put it in a radio show,
Yeah.
and then that was the whole concept. Don't pay us hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
It's free. What we were asking
Yeah.
you to do is put it on your page, so you're gonna help the other 15 artists on that show, and they're gonna help you, and
Yeah.
it's just exponential promotion.
Right.
And we still
No, it
trying
is.
to get that perfected. Not everybody participates in that. So we love the, artists like yourself and Brandy Little and Stella Soleil. There's people who they come on and they just really
Yeah.
gravitate. Naru Quanah has could tell you more and more. We got people that really they bought into this concept, and that's what's gonna make it work. And that's why we keep
Oh yeah.
growing. Because we're not
hey,
just trying
Yeah.
to hold on to it. We always like
Right.
getting another station, and we promote the stations. We ain't trying to
right,
Right.
compete with the stations. We trying to get more people to you, and vice versa.
Exactly. No, it all works out. Some artists don't understand that concept, but what you
yeah,
guys are
man.
doing,
I
you
better
you're
say
known for putting out quality, you know?
right. I better say these three because I know they gonna watch this video. Lori Nebo, Tesla Nay, and Tay
Yeah,
Swanee.
yeah,
Definitely
I'm
know
familiar
them.
with some of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
heard Laura Nebo through your networks.
yeah.
Got that
Lori,
Stephanie Mills type of thing going on.
yeah, yeah.
She
You
put
know,
in work. You in the
Yeah.
East Coast, right?
Yeah, East Coast. I'm in New York
Yeah,
right
she
now.
in New York too. Y'all might have to hook up at a open mic or something, man. She's
Yeah,
still
her music's
OG, but
great.
she's still putting in work like she a teenager.
Yeah, I promoted her on my Twitter page. I had so many Twitter accounts because Twitter's running better now. You know what I mean? Than how it
Mm.
was is better now. It's more open. You know what I mean? So for me, it's this is what I do. I came in the game doing that because when I remember when I was working with a lot of artists back in the day, they were like R&B, whatever the even if I wasn't on the record, I was in the studio. You know what I mean? I was, I worked with guys like Cannabis. I worked with, hip hop, R&B, whatever, world beat. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't matter.
How
It
did you
could
get
have been
into
some
this thing? When did you start, and how did you just find the motivation to keep on going?
what you mean like from music when I
From
started
music, how
music
did you get
or
started in music, or did you have an older brother? How do you even
nah?
get into this thing?
I loved music since I was a kid, and my family tells me, that I would be creating songs, you know what I'm saying? And since I was like in kindergarten doing stuff like that. But I remember when I was a teenager, I used to do this we used to freestyle like in the bleachers. Instead of
Mm.
participating in gym class, we were over here rapping.
In the
And a
cipher.
lot of yeah, the cipher. So everybody was loving it. So I said, you know what? And it was a thing of mine. So I just liked music so much, and hip hop was a big influence in my life. So my favorite, the most influential artist at the time for me was LL Cool J and KRS One.
Man,
They had a
KRS One.
perfect balance. Yeah, KRS One was a heavy influence on me because I like the he gave you everything. You know what I'm saying? He gave you
Mm.
the party, the philosophy, everything. So I gravitated towards his sound much more than others. You know what I'm saying? But from there, then I would just be going to the studio because I lived in the same neighborhood where the Fugees came from. So and they knew the producer knew my family. You know what I mean? So I used to go to their studio all the time, and I put together a demo. And when I put together that demo, they heard it. It was like I had like a small eight track, some type of like a little recorder that my uncle had. My auntie's husband had this little recorder thing, so I
Gas
did
can.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So and I put something together, and they heard it. The producer heard it, Jerry Wonder. He liked it and whatever. And so then I went into the studio, and he gave me three tracks, and I cut those three records, and then they were signed under we got a deal under Interscope. So Cannabis co-signed my first deal actually.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I was in the studio where Cannabis was, doing all of that with the LL. He had a whole thing going on with LL. Yeah, I actually was there to witness that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So Cannabis was another talented dude. He actually had when he the rec that record he actually brought in the sample. Because I remember he brought in the sample. I heard the concept before anybody, before even the producer. He was like,
Mm.
"Yo, I got this crazy sample," and it was just strictly vocals on it. Then later on that night, I went to meet him at I believe it was Sony on 54th and Ninth Street in the city, Manhattan. Listen, they had bass, drums, all that added to the record. I was like, whoa! Listen, the record it was just dope. That was a fun time. It was fun times. Just witnessing the whole experience of it. You know what I mean? Is
You
great.
part of hip hop history, man. You definitely gotta. I don't know if you have any blogs or videos out where you talking about this, but just our tradition of Oracle, you gotta
Yeah.
recount those stories. Tell them about what you witnessed, because we need
Oh
to know.
yeah.
We need to know that.
No,
Right.
yeah. I worked. Yeah, I worked with some great artists. Like even on the Ghetto Superstars album, I wrote on that record as well, featuring Mac 10 from
Mm.
the West
Uh,
Side Connection. I used to love the West Side Connection. I loved West Coast music just as much as I love the East Coast artists.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like I was a big fan of the West Side Connection. I just like that contrast. With all of them had different styles, and they just had a sonically like the beats and everything
Oh
was
my
just
God.
Ice Cube. Was laying putting it down. One of my favorite records is with from Ice Cube and Scarface. They got, those guys are amazing. You know what I mean? Amazing.
yeah,
The,
yeah,
mu- the music had so much substance. You know what I'm saying? A lot of substance in the music, man. Loved it.
yeah.
That what's made you more well-rounded as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I liked about the West Coast is that they used a lot of instrumentation. You know what I'm saying? You could hear the melodies, like
Yeah,
even
they
with
were into
Dr.
the
Dre's
funk and the
beats.
R&B more than the East Coast. Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
they.
Dr. Dre, yeah, with the Funkadelics, with Snoop and them, you know what I mean? Snoop had a different vibe too. He didn't sound like he was from the West Coast because he was, with so much of the wordplay. You
Mm,
know what I mean? It was like it was, yeah. That Snoop's first album is a classic. There's a lot of dope artists, even Souls of Mischief. That's that
mm,
song 93 Till. When I heard that, I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, but that jazz is in there. If you
mm.
hear that the instrumental of that, it's like it's jazzy with the
That scene
saxophone.
from Sinners, I don't know if you've seen the Ryan Coogler's Sinners, when there's a
Yeah,
scene where all the ancestors and the jazz
yeah,
and rock and roll is all playing together and hip hop. You got it's that kind of embodies how this all. I think that's what hip hop survived so much because it would be the bridge where they were sampling
right.
stuff. I remember the Wild Wild West
Yeah,
as hip hop. We could grab it might be 25, 50 samples in one song, and then when
yeah,
James Brown, rightfully so, went after to get his rights, and you had to
right.
get clearance and all that stuff. That kind of stopped so many samples being in one thing, but it wasn't nothing for it to be 10, 15, 20 samples or more in one song. Some
Yeah,
might just be the snare. One might be the little break of this part, might be the intro from
right,
here, the horns from there. And then we would have to
right.
work. Even though I wasn't an MPC producer, I was there, and then later on I did it on the software, truncate the thing, and you had to match up the key and the tempo.
Yeah,
Now they can just drag and drop. Oh, this is C
yeah,
sharp major with this tempo, and the tempo is going to line automatically. I'm like, so I'm
yeah. They
trying
got so
not
much
to
stuff
hate on
now.
that because they don't have to work as hard. So they
Right,
got to be
right.
that much more creative to stand out. So,
Oh
so
yeah. But just watching the transition of it, if you come from that era where you were doing everything manually,
mm,
you got more appreciation for the music. This is
yeah,
one of the reasons why streaming kind of like killed the momentum behind certain records, and it depreciated music in the
mm,
eyes of the fans because it's easy to press play. That's the easiest thing you could do is press play, but you don't
mm,
know the mechanism or the time that it takes sometimes to put an album together, and even to get a group of people together in the studio because you got life,
mm. Life be life.
sometimes yeah, life be lifing. So
Mm,
sometimes circumstances don't allow you to do things in the time that you want to do it. So, you gotta when CDs and vinyl was the only way you could get music, you gotta put your clothes on and go outside and go get the music. If you gotta go, if it was a taxi or whatever, the train, the drive to
mm.
wherever to the mall, it was a thing. It was an activity. So that
And
made
you only
people
had a certain
appreciate
amount
it.
of money for your music collection, so you're gonna go
Exactly.
through them albums and see what the
Yeah.
fuck you put on the headphones. This is like
Yeah.
important. You ain't can just next, next, next. It
Yeah.
wasn't even that much
And
music coming out, so it was more
nah,
valuable
it's
to us. We read the credits. We like who
we read the
produced this,
credits.
who's
That's the
on
first
this.
thing we would do. That's
Yeah,
the first thing we do. We go, look at the credits, see who produced it, look at the artwork, who they thanked, all of that stuff. It was,
it was
it was
important
something.
how the sequence of the songs was. It was a story,
All of that,
but
all of
now
that was
it's like a
important
single, single, single.
because it's
I
at the
mean,
touch of a button.
yeah.
It's in your hand, so they didn't have to go out and get the record. Come on, when you used to get a CD, if it's scratched, you went and bought another one. Somebody
Mm,
borrows it
Right.
and don't give it back, you got to go buy another one. You
right.
know what I'm saying? But you loved it that much. Like now, you can't do much with just press play, so you don't value it because it's too easy. It's too easy to access.
That
They have
sounds
easy
like your
access to the
next song
music.
right there. It's too easy. And then
It's
go
too
to
easy.
reminiscing.
Yeah, think I might do that. Yeah, for real. Feel me?
Dope,
We
dope.
living in California in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
There are a lot of record stores. Haight Ashbury in San Francisco, People's
Hmm.
Park in Berkeley, Sacramento. A lot of mom and pop record stores. And with my mom
TY
following, we
Right.
were invited to go to Streetlight Records in San Jose. San Jose is about 60 miles outside of Oakland. Man, we
Mm-hmm.
walked in, and my mom and I both went, whoa. It was 10,000 square feet of
Yeah.
music, vinyl,
Music.
8 tracks,
All that.
CD, T-shirts, the tie-dye T-shirts. Man, we was in Disneyland, man, for a music lover, man. We was thumbing through the records. Ah, man, through
Mm-hmm.
this one. Um, my mom did a record signing party there, and the people that just came, they was it took me back to the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
with them playing the vinyl. Um, we had a few copies, my mom signed them, uh
Right.
authenticated them as you would,
Right.
do. Um, it's a whole different appreciation of music. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people uh don't like Spotify. Well, I'm not putting my music on Spotify. But
Right.
me personally,
Right.
I do it because it's easy for you to find. And
Yeah.
from
A lot
there,
of businesses use Spotify, you know.
you
A lot of
know,
business establishments use Spotify.
you could go, if you really like me, you can go to my Bandcamp, buy it, download from there, or hit me up. I'll send
Right.
you a
Right.
CD. Look,
Right.
I'll send you a CD, have CD
That's right.
reply. Oh, you'll see,
That's right. That's
you
Yeah, a lot
right.
of artists are getting around the Spotify new terms of agreement and stuff by giving putting snippets on instead of giving them a whole thing because if they're a real fan, you can get your fan base there. You can get
Exactly.
you can have like on social media, you can have your own music as a background for every post that you make. You might be walking through the park, have your own music in the
Exactly.
back and get paid them little chump change
The
pennies,
little
they'll add
snippets.
up.
Yeah.
So,
they,
The thing is, it's the way I see it too. You can use it in a way like for some artists, you can it's a for me it's a lane. That's why I tell certain artists it's a lane, almost like a highway. There's multiple lanes. So Spotify is a lane. Then you got all these the other streaming platforms. So you can basically put out. You don't have to you choose you don't have to put all your work on there, but you got to have at least something on there to occupy that lane so that you could be found through those circuits. You know what I'm saying? And of course, but I like to put the music out there and give it straight to the fans, like a website with an artist, and even with Bandcamp. But the thing is, what happened is they with so much distractions on the internet, and they were promoting this cookie cutter, factory fast, make it fast. Every 3 months, a new, just like every new month, every 3 months, a new sneaker comes out, a new iPhone comes out. So they want you to put the music at that volume, which I don't advise, because what is the point? You're in a saturated market.
mhm,
So it sometimes the music has to circulate. You can have one record on Spotify and just keep pushing that record.
mhm.
You don't have to keep putting 4 or 5 records out every month or every 3 months for what?
Yeah,
Who's
you sell
who's
yourself to different fresh parts of you. You could remarket and
yeah,
remarket yourself.
yeah,
Have the people fall in love with you as an artist, so then they want to come.
yeah.
Speaking of Spotify and Bandcamp and X and all of that, where can you tell us the people where they can find you at King Brice? Where's King Brice at?
I'm on Twitter as a King Brice Radio, KingBrice Radio. I'm on Instagram as a King Brice Music at King Brice Official. Find me on there, and I'm also on Bandcamp, King Brice. So I got all these platforms, and I got my site that I'm relaunching, and I'm gonna be releasing music on there as well. And I also got merch and things like that. I'm pushing. So
That's what's up.
yeah, I'm working on a lot of different projects. So right now, so I'm getting ready to put out an instrumental project. I got two coming out. So one of them is a re-release, and another one is a new instrumental project. So I got a DJ Chuck Massacre, and then I'm also looking to work with some other DJs. So I support the DJs. You know what I mean?
Mm.
They push the music. That's another thing too. Sometimes I feel bad for the DJs because they're pushing the artists, but sometimes the artists just leave it up to the DJs to do all the work.
Right.
Promote
Right.
the DJ. If you got, especially in hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes like the guys don't understand. Like if you got a guy out there that's putting, pushing your music, throw the DJ, some money in his cash app without even him mentioning. Surprise the DJ. Because that's
Right.
what the hip
Right.
hop started with. The DJ
Mm,
was the man. And then he would bring
mm,
on the artist,
right.
the MC. But the
Mm,
DJ without, you gotta support your DJs. You know what I'm saying? You gotta that's why I still support vinyl. I support that because the DJs, you gotta have it, man. You can't the DJs, keep the party live, man. You know what
right.
I'm saying?
And so a lot of them
So
became
that's
the best producers because they know how to rock the crowd. They know how to read the crowd, and they know
yeah,
what's gonna bring the crowd sonically. What's gonna what we're gonna play
yeah,
to the people. So they become the best producers. At least
yeah.
executive. You
You
know.
gotta
I got
big up the DJs, man.
a story real quick. Uh,
Hmm.
the lady from the Chronicle came here to interview my mom, and the Chronicle is San Francisco. That's the biggest paper around this area. Uh,
Right.
she's she was sitting here all day. The cameraman had left, and she was waiting for her boyfriend. So we was just hanging out, and I say, Annie, how old are you? And she said, I'm 24. And I laughed, right? I say, my mom music is twice your age. How did you find it? She said she was at a club in San Francisco, and the DJ put it on, and she was like, oh my God. And she
Yeah,
said she and tried to find the DJ, couldn't get to him. So she grabbed her phone and hit Shazam, and everything came up.
yeah,
And that next weekend, she went to the record store, and they had a poster of my mom, and he had a few of my mom's records. And she said, how do I get in touch with them? So he put her in touch with us, and
yeah.
that's all the vinyl. The DJ.
Yeah, gotta pick up the
Mm,
DJs. It's very important, man, because you
mm.
can't you can't leave that element out of it. Because sometimes technology actually takes away from your creativity. You know what I'm saying? If
So
you
that's
look
Yep.
because
at
the
just
same
like
thing that happened to the music is happening to the DJs. Now, not all of them. The best DJs are still doing what they do, but Serato, and no, it's gonna mix and mix and key. It's gonna, you know, the real
mhm,
DJs, just like we talked about, you had to have a certain
spin that
skill
vinyl,
set to do an MPC right. Now
right?
you could just drag and drop, and it's gonna match the tempo. It's gonna,
Yeah,
and
that's why the market is so saturated. Because sometimes
mm,
because of the technology, it makes it too easy. For example, you could be doing this thing for 10, 20 years. You got people that's been doing it 30 years, all of that. And some kid with no experience could just get on the same highway as you with no experience. Like he just
mm,
recorded something last night on you, and next thing you know, it's on YouTube because somebody told
mm.
him it was good, and it's not good. It's not refined. You know what I mean? They just
He
they
ain't
just
pay his
throw it out there.
dues. Yeah,
Exactly. Never did
yeah.
an open mic. Never had to perform in front of strangers. Never been in ciphers. Never had to. You know what I mean? Like
One
so,
of the things
it
that's
it
showing
kind
up
of
with the new music, even though these kids, they might have the marketing down, the social media marketing down, but they're finding that their shows is not selling out. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have
no,
no, they make bake and make, microwave your music. So I'm just on to the next artist. I don't have no real loyalty to you because you don't inspire me to come to a show, and then because you did all that on YouTube or whatever, now it's time to rock a crowd. You ain't never had no open mics and this and that. You don't
exactly.
know how to rock a crowd. You ain't paid your
Yeah.
dues, and it shows in the end. You know.
No, it does, and a lot of DJs who would stress the fact that it's good that you have to perform, put on a performance, not just play the record and rap over it. If you got like let's say 6 records you're performing, or even 4, it's okay to perform one. Let's say with the vocals on it, if you couldn't, if you didn't have time to prepare, whatever, that's not an issue. The issue is if you're going to perform all your records and then you're rapping over every single record, then the person could just go listen to the record. The performance has to just have your ad libs in the background. and you're supposed to perform. That's when you know you worked on your craft. When you got to
Mm.
have wind. You know what I'm saying? You can't, if you're gonna run out of breath, you won't be able to tell if you're just letting the record play. You can't see
Right.
your growth like that. You won't see where you need to sharpen up. It's this is
Right.
it's a gig, man. It's like you can't Milli Vanilli your way through this shit.
Yeah. You done punched in the studio 15 every line. Go punch me in. I got I
That's
mean, I
what
guess it's a
happens, man.
place, it's a lane for that, but I worked with DJ rappers. They gotta punch in every line. Okay, punch me in right here. Luckily, I got skills and
Uh,
I be
yeah,
hitting it,
I don't
and I
like
can get
that.
it make
Yeah,
sound seamlessly. I can use a leveler to make it sound like you was back here on this one and you was up here on this, and I can put it all together. But oh my
right.
God! And then I work with other like there's a rapper in the Bay called Killer Tay. He used to rap like 15 minutes. And if he messed up at minute 12, he was, no, start me from. I was like, no, we could punch. No, you start me.
Yeah,
So you got
he,
extremists like that too. But
yeah.
yeah,
Those are the that's the hip hop purists. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, they want a one
Like
continuous stream of consciousness and flow. You know,
yeah,
I'm
yeah, because you're
somewhere in
giving a
between.
part
I
of
like to
yourself.
take, but I still want, yeah, I still,
Right. I mean, if you're doing it, sometimes, especially if it's the chorus, it's the hook.
mm,
So,
right.
it's all right. You know what I mean? But sometimes artists, they just like the passion. If you got that passion and, go with that flow, you just want to go ahead and just run straight through it. It's like exercise. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
If you usually do,
Right.
if you was going to do 50 push-ups, on your 20th one or 10th one, the phone rings, you want to go back and do the 50, you might start over. You monitor yourself like that. You know what I'm saying?
You said you was down with Wu Tang, man. I consider you like
No,
a
Fuji's.
grand, huh?
Who?
Fuji's.
Oh, Fuji's. Same thing. They're
Yeah, the brothers.
grandmasters. They're grandmasters, just like Wu Tang is grandmaster. I consider
Oh yeah,
you a
Wu Tang.
grandmaster, brother. You got the
Oh,
knowledge.
respect.
You got you back it up with what you do sonically, and you put everybody from New York. They call it records, even when it's a demo. It's a record. Yeah, I just did a record last night. That's my boy from New York, Yoshimi. You know.
Yeah, speaking. It's funny you mentioned Wu Tang because we was having that conversation. I had that conversation with one of the promoters that I'm working with that started off with Wu Tang.
Mm,
He from Staten Island. The thing is, I was telling him that Wu Tang did a great job of I would say like putting out a record with 9 people. So I give credit to the RZA for doing that
mm,
because it was unheard of. So they
right.
broke, you could say, sort of like through a barrier because
Mm,
hip hop always had that structure, chorus, verse, verse.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like 3 verses. But for you to be able to formulate that structure with 9 MCs,
mm.
that was right there. That's innovation. I like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think I give him a lot of credit for that, because you had to. It was something that was unheard of and it wasn't done before. That was a risk that he took, and to do that, you had to make the record so good that it could surpass the normal structure, and for radio to accept it or the industry, besides industry standards. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, see,
so
you're a student of the craft, and as making the student of
definitely,
being a student of the craft, then you can come present like a professor, you know. So
yeah, definitely,
that's what the young people don't understand. It's always good to find your own, and not, just imitate what's came before. You could pay homage in certain ways, but if you're not learning anything from the past, if you don't you don't treat it with respect and everything. One thing that Hess's mother has become like a mother to all of us. Queen Carrie Cleveland, we call it, because she represents the past and the youth. They came over
hmm
her house making cookies with her. You learn how she teaching them how to
yeah,
make tea cakes and stuff like that.
yeah,
She's sending it out.
yeah.
She give away freely to whoever will hear, and that's what we bridge generations, and because that's a
Yes,
divide and conquer thing right there. We
that's what that
OGs,
is.
we talk about, oh, they don't have to do this shit. Yeah, but they this youngsters, they learn marketing stuff that we had to come back and learn from them with the social media and
Right.
stuff like that. So each one teach one, the old and the new and the
That's
middle
right.
and the between. So yeah,
No,
I
that's what
wanted to
it
say
is.
that so we don't seem like we some hating OGs because I've been in the
Nah,
game since tape,
I
bro.
think You know what it is
Uh,
too? I think a lot of times there's a misunderstanding too between the older generation and the younger generation. Sometimes they don't take criticism well,
Mm.
and but the thing is, a lot of the critique that's coming from the older heads, and is that it's actually to help the youth. I mean, don't do that cookie cutter stuff when you could go ahead. Don't cut corners. You know what I'm saying? If you got that's actually going to bring out your potential. You know what I'm saying? If then that
Mm.
and that's a normal thing. An older person is seeing you doing something that you could do better. They're supposed to tell you that. So that's how I learned. You know what I'm saying? When I first started recording in the studio, the people around me, they were older and more experienced. So sometimes they would give me a beat where they like because I was in that battle mode. Everything was battle, battle, battle. So then I had to when they started hitting me off with certain beats, I had to write a record now.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just like in battle mode. So you learn from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You learn to appreciate that input that somebody with more experience, you know what I'm saying, has, and that's you have respect for the musicians. You know what I mean?
We
yo,
definitely
Good.
respect your time, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. My battery's
Likewise.
about to die on here.
No, li-
I
I
think we've been
appreciate
on
you
here for
guys.
about an hour.
I
So
appreciate you guys for having me on here, man. I support Indie Hookup Radio. You guys, putting a lot of people onto new music, and I thank you for supporting my music. Heston Cleveland, salute 1,000 times. You know what I mean? And your mom, she's a queen. She's keeping the music alive. She's inspiring people. So you got my support all day, every day. The both of you guys, man. I appreciate you. eTunes UK, shout out to Mark Bradley. We
sir.
rocking them. 2026, we coming. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
And we're making improvements and progress. You know what I mean?
give us one more time your social media and places people can find you.
Instagram at King Brice Official, at King Brice Music, Twitter, King Brice Radio, and also follow iTunes Digital 45 on Twitter as well, and iTunes Digital Pro. So we got some good things coming up. You know what I mean? So any artists out there want to reach out to me, producers, I'm always open to network. You know what I mean?
That's
Let's
what's
put out
up.
quality network. But for me, it's quality over quantity,
That's what's up. Yes,
especially when
we
they pay in a fraction of a penny. So we got
right. Oh my God. Yes, you wanna take us out? You got anything last thing you want to say?
Thing I want to say is it's been an honor, family.
Lean forward, brother. You gotta
Likewise.
focus.
Oh,
There you
it's
go.
been an honor, family. I've been looking forward to this day. Um, when I first started seeing you on Twitter,
Hmm.
I knew I gotta I'm gonna be working with this man right here, man.
Oh,
Be
no
working with
doubt. Respect, bro.
man. 2026, y'all get me.
And we still rocking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I
Hey,
appreciate you guys though.
uh, you could find Keys Bryce music on the Indie Hookup. It's been in rotation all week long. In the no look, wait a minute, hold it. Number one this week in the eTunes,
Salute.
the Indie Hookup Top 20 countdown. Number one.
Salute. Salute. Salute.
Yes,
Number one. I love it.
number one.
I
Hey,
love
but
it.
we before Ricardo black out on us.
Right.
It's been a pleasure, King. Been a pleasure, family.
Most deaf.
Likewise. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. And you got my support 100%.
Yes,
you got my
You family
coordinates.
now,
Just
bro.
feel
You
free to
can't
reach
get
out.
rid of us.
Salute, salute,
Yes.
salute. Thank you. You guys, man, listen, anything you guys want to run by me, just you know what to do. Heston know the tags because I just heard some exclusive from him. Oh man, I can't wait till he drop it.
That's what's up.
That's
What's
what's
up?
up, bro. He's got that ear, definitely. Thank you
All right,
guys.
we're
I
yeah.
gonna we're gonna
appreciate
put
it.
this out in about no longer than 3 days, and then
No
we'll
doubt.
get you all links and stuff like that there. You know.
No
Yep,
doubt.
yep.
I appreciate you, Ricardo. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
All right. So
All
you guys
right.
have a good one. All right. Salute.
You too. Have a good evening, brother.
You too.
Peace.
Thanks.
Love,
Thanks for having me.
blessings.
Peace.